It all began over 2,000 years ago on the fertile slopes of Mount Vesuvius, a city of life, energy, and ambition, Pompeii. Nestled near the shimmering waters of the Bay of Naples, this city was more than just a settlement. It was a living, breathing tapestry of Roman life. Streets were filled with the chatter of merchants, the laughter of children playing in the courtyards, and the scent of freshly baked bread wafting through the air. Life in Pompeii was ordinary, yet extraordinary, a perfect reflection of Roman society at its height. Wealthy villas stood side by side with modest homes, each adorned with intricate mosaics and vivid frescoes that told stories of gods, celebrations, and everyday. Markets overflowed with goods from across the empire: olive oil, wine, fish, spices, fabrics and pottery, and public baths offered spaces for relaxation, conversation, and connection. Every stone, every pathway, every wall was alive with human energy, capturing the rhythm of life in a city that thrived on culture, trade, and community. Grand, the citizens of Pompeii were diverse. Traders and artisans, politicians and priests, children and elders, all played a role in the heartbeat of the city. Education, religion, and leisure were interwoven into daily routines. Young boys practiced writing and arithmetic, learning the skills needed to manage estates or conduct business. Women oversaw households, prepared meals, and sometimes even managed shops. Public festivals and religious ceremonies were held frequently, reflecting the deep connection to Roman gods and traditions. Life was not always easy, yet there was a sense of order, pride, and shared purpose that made Pompeii unique. It was a city alive with ambition, curiosity, and human spirit. But looming above all this activity was a presence often taken for granted: Mount Vesuvius. For generations, the mountain had been quiet, almost dormant, a familiar backdrop to daily life rather than a threat. Its slopes were fertile, its ash enriching the soil, providing the ideal conditions for vineyards, orchards, and gardens. Pompeii thrived in its shadow, unaware that this very force of nature would one day shape its destiny forever. Then, in the summer of Tisajul AD, everything changed. On a day like any other, Vesuvius awoke with terrifying force. A cloud of ash, smoke, and pumice shot into the sky, blotting out the sun. The eruption was sudden, violent, and overwhelming. Stones and volcanic material rained down on the city, covering streets, homes, and people alike. Panic spread through the streets. Families fled wherever they could, merchants abandoned their stalls, and the bustling markets fell silent. The city that had been full of life became trapped under a thick, suffocating blanket of ash. Those who could not escape were preserved in the final moments of their lives, leaving behind a haunting yet invaluable record for the centuries to come. Despite the suddenness of the disaster, Pompeii's inhabitants tried to survive. Archaeological evidence reveals how people sought shelter in homes, courtyards, and alleyways. Some clutched precious belongings, coins, or food. Others held on to loved. Everyday activities were interrupted in an instant. Children's toys were left where they fell. Meals were unfinished on tables, and pets stayed close to their owners. These frozen moments create a deeply emotional window into human life at the time of catastrophe. It is not a story of destruction alone, but a snapshot of humanity caught between normalcy and disaster. Pompeii lay hidden beneath volcanic debris for nearly 80 years, its streets, homes, and artifacts buried and forgotten. It wasn't until the Sherpath century that explorers and archaeologists began to uncover the city, revealing a remarkably unlike other ancient sites, Pompeii was frozen in time, offering a vivid picture of Roman life in unparalleled detail. Buildings, frescoes, mosaics, shops, taverns, baths, and even graffiti survived, giving insight into the culture, humor, and daily routines of its citizens. Every corner told a story. Inscriptions on walls showed political messages, personal expressions, and even jokes. Households displayed tools, furniture, and artwork. Streets revealed the infrastructure of plumbing, drainage, and commerce. The city had been lost for centuries, yet its rediscovery allowed the world to step directly into the past. Through careful excavation, historians learned not only about the physical layout of Pompeii, but also about the lives of those who lived there. Wealthy villas displayed the prosperity of Rome's upper class, with marble floors, ornate frescoes, and private gardens. Shops and workshops illustrated the bustling trade that sustained the city, showing how ordinary citizens earned a living through craftsmanship, selling goods, or managed. Public buildings like the Forum, the amphitheater, and temples reflected the city's cultural and religious life, demonstrating the integration of public spaces with social and spiritual activity. Every structure, object, and inscription revealed a society both sophisticated and vibrant, a civilization at its height before nature intervened. The eruption of Vesuvius, while tragic, also preserved the city in extraordinary detail. Ash and pumice acted as a protective layer, shielding homes, artifacts, and even human forms. Excavators later discovered voids in the hardened ash, where bodies had decomposed. By filling these cavities with plaster, archaeologists recreated detailed casts of the city's inhabitants, capturing expressions, gestures, and the human experience at the moment of disaster. These casts tell intimate stories, families holding each other, workers frozen mid-task, children clutching toys. Through them, the voices of Pompeii speak across millennia, allowing modern audiences to connect with lives that might otherwise have been lost forever. Pompeii's story is also a powerful lesson about the forces of nature. Vesuvius, dormant for centuries, erupted with devastating impact, showing how life, no matter how advanced or organized, can be vulnerable to the environment. Yet within this tragedy lies a story of discovery, understanding, and resilience. Through Pompeii, historians, scientists, and archaeologists have been able to reconstruct not just the city's layout, but the daily habits, social structures, and even personal tastes of its citizens. From the smallest household items to grand public spaces, the city preserves a portrait of Roman civilization unlike any other. Today, Pompeii continues to inspire awe, curiosity, and reflection. Walking through its preserved streets, one can imagine the sounds of life, merchants calling out their wares, children running along stone paths, citizens gathering at baths or forums. The city feels alive, not just a ruin, but a living memory. Tourists, historians, and students come from all over the world to witness the preservation of history, to experience the emotion embedded in every corner, and to connect with humanity across time.